Hi guys, what is up? Welcome or welcome back if you're new here. Hi, my name is Ritvik and thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you're not new here, thank you so much for coming back. I love you. It is January, so happy new year. And over here on this channel, I am celebrating January in Japan. Basically, in the book world, what January in Japan or Japanuary, what it means is you just read Japanese books. It's as simple as that. Japanese fiction is one of my favorite genres of literature. If you can even count it as like a genre of literature, I love reading Japanese books. They are so full of whimsy, so full of like magical realism, and most of them have like a cozy, comforting vibe to it. I don't mean to generalize the entire genre by saying this, but I do seek out stories which fall in that sphere. My goal for 2024 is to read a lot more diverse type of Japanese literature. I know Japanese murder mysteries and Japanese mystery thrillers are really good, and they are like a standout genre on their own. As a mystery connoisseur, I can't wait to get into it. Without further ado, let's start off with my Japanese translated literature, translated fiction recommendations. We're gonna start off with the classics, books which almost everyone has read or either heard of because they are by a very popular author, and that is Haruki Murakami. I've read just about 3 to 4 Murakami books, but I have fallen in love with his writing style. He writes with just so much beauty in it. His writing is very lucid, very dreamlike, and the stories themselves have very outlandish qualities to them. The reading experience I've had with Murakami's books has been such a top-notch one, and my favorite books so far I've read are Norwegian Wood and Kafka on the Shore. Norwegian Wood is like a classic tale of your 20s. It's about how the world and how you yourself change as you grow up. It discusses themes like mental health, sexuality, the loneliness of your 20s. It's a whirlwind saga of a main character coming of age and falling in love amidst changing social background. I love the writing in this one. It is just so beautifully written. There are so many lines in here which are just so quote worthy, and his storytelling is just one of the best. Kafka on the Shore, on the other hand, is like a whimsical fairy tale. It's an odyssey of a teenage boy who runs away from home in order to escape his destiny, and we follow the places and the transformation that this journey takes him on. The story is very lucid, and things which you can only describe as dreamlike or whimsical happen throughout the entire book. It's very confusing in the beginning because there are 2 timelines and 2 POVs, 2 stories which are running parallelly, so you are very confused, but once they come together you are hooked and like everything falls into place. And then one of the most memorable reading experiences I have, like absolutely, like this is the book that solidified that I absolutely love Murakami's writing. It's just so unique and so special. The main criticism that Murakami gets is his portrayal of women and the way he writes women in his stories just to be as like a non-dimensional sexual object, and I agree with that criticism because it just does not sit right when the characters could be a lot more. So that is an aspect of his writing which I choose to overlook because the rest of it is so beautiful. And if you're looking to get into Murakami, definitely these 2 are like the best starting points for you. I would suggest going with this one just to get a taste of his writing, because this is a very big commitment to make. Up next we have 2 books which tackle issues like gender inequality, misogyny, and sexism in the best way possible. Convenience Store Woman by Sayaka Murata is a book about our main character who works in a convenience store, and she has worked in a convenience store all her life. Ever since she turned 18, she has no desire to climb the corporate ladder. She's very much happy doing the job which she's been doing for the last 18 years. It's a very complex and layered story which discusses issues like capitalism, social inequality, societal expectations, and misogyny. It explores what happens to people who don't fit into the proper social narratives and who don't follow social cues and social discretions, and how quickly society just like shuns them out by outcasting them or by treating them as weirdos. The more you read into this book, the more you will find in it. So you can enjoy the story just for what it is, but if you read it at a deeper level, you will find so much meaning and so much value in it. And it's like a very weird book which it's like very memorable. You won't forget about it after you're done reading it. After that we have is Diary of a Void by Imi Yagi. It's a story of Miss Shibata who works in an office, and she's kind of like in the middle of the corporate ladder, yet she is expected to do the menial tasks like cleaning after her colleagues or making coffee for everyone just because she's a woman. And one day she is just fed up of doing this, so she lies to them and tells them that she's pregnant, and so she won't be doing these tasks anymore. And what follows is a journey that Miss Shibata goes on during her fake pregnancy, and how the society and how everything around her changes. This is a brilliant book which explores the issues of sexism and misogyny which happens at workplace, specifically Japanese workplace, in the context of Japanese culture. Delves into topics like single versus married versus single and pregnant versus married and pregnant women, how every type of woman is treated in a different way, what everybody expects of her, and the fatigue and the frustration that women experience because of this. It's a very quiet novel which just showcases the loneliness of the book, the loneliness that Miss Shibata feels during her life and during this journey. It has those magical realism elements to it as well. It's a really quick read. I started this book when I sat on a train to Mumbai, and I was done before I even reached Mumbai, so it's a very quick read which you will just pass through. If you're looking for a heartwarming, cozy, comforting, life-affirming book, I have quite a lot of recommendations for you. First up is Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. This is an entire series. There are 4 books out right now, and the 5th one should be out very soon. And this is a story about a time-traveling cafe in Tokyo, and over there in the cafe, on a particular seat, you can go back in time, but no matter how much you try, no matter what you do, you cannot change the present. So it ultimately asks the question, if you could go back in time, what would you do and who would you meet? Every book is a collection of stories where 4 people or 4 to 5 people go back in time and just correct some flaws, correct some grievances, get some closure, and the book is just so heartwarming. It is so delicate, it is so tender, and the atmosphere in the book is very cozy. It is full of those coffee house, coffee shop vibes. Absolutely loved the entire series. Although I must say that this is not a series which you can binge read, because if you binge read, almost like around book 2 you will start to find it repetitive. This is like one of those books which is kind of like a cure. So when you're in need of something tender and heartwarming, you come back to the series, pick up a book, and you read it and just get to feel all the feels. It is sad, but it is very like makes your heart happy kind of sad. So yeah, keep some tissues on hand. I love this book series so much. I don't want to take out the entire series, but it's like kind of over there, like I don't know if you guys can see it. No, you guys can't. It's out of the shot. The next recommendation I have for you guys is the Kamogawa Food Detectives. Kamogawa Food Detectives is very similar to Before the Coffee Gets Cold in the sense that it also dives into the past of people who are coming into the Kamogawa diner. But this book does it with food. Instead of going back in time, over here in the Kamogawa diner, people come in to taste food from their past. The owner of the diner is a father and daughter duo who investigate and ask questions and then go back to their places to try to find and replicate the same exact dish. And what follows in this story are tales where people just want to taste comfort once again in their life, and showcases how food is so important, not just for nourishment and not just for your physical health, but how food also creates a lot of memories, and food also has a lot of history and emotions attached to it. It's very mouth-watering in terms of the descriptions of food. The emotional quotient is a bit lower than Before the Coffee Gets Cold, but it still gives you that same heartwarming, cozy, life-affirming energy, and I absolutely love listening to this book. Cats are like a big theme in like a huge chunk of Japanese literature, and if you like books about cats, then the following few books are for you. First up is a book which is like one of my favorite books of all time. You see that shelf over there? Where is it? Yeah, this shelf. That is my forever favorite shelf, and this book is a resident over there, and it is The Traveling Cat Chronicles by Hiro Arikawa. I listened to it as an audiobook like in 2020, yeah, last year, 2022, and I just I absolutely fell in head over heels in love with this book. I was listening to it on like a big commute which I had that day, so I was going to spend like about 4 to 5 hours on my two-wheeler just traveling around over in Pune, and I listened to it during that time. And as I reached the climax and the conclusion of the book, I stopped reading because I knew I was going to sob. So I put it on pause. I came back home, sat on my bed, I resumed, and then I fell face flat on the mattress and I sobbed. I sobbed. Like my mattress was wet when I got back up, because this book is just so good, so bittersweet, so heartwarming, and it's just one of the best piece of works that I've read. It's about Nana, who is a stray cat, and his owner Satoru. This is the journey of how they meet, their adventures together, and the last journey that they take together. And I can guarantee that this book will leave you in tears, because it is so emotional, but it fills your heart up because it is just so full of love. It explores Satoru and Nana's love for each other, the unexpected love and relationship they form with each other. I will absolutely recommend this book to anyone and everyone. Next is a collection of short stories which I read very recently, which is She and Her Cat by Makoto Shinkai and Naruki Nagakawa. And this is a collection of short stories about cats and their female owners. Every single story is very heartwarming, it's very cute, it's very cozy, and all of the stories are interlinked, and there is like a background plot which progresses as the stories go on. And this is like a very quick, cozy read. If you're looking for like a hug in a book, this is it. This is under 150 pages, and it will just give you the emotional release, the catharsis that you need. After that, we have is a fantasy magical realism book. Like, I would say if this is considered magical realism, it's very much on the magical side of it. It is The Cat Who Saved Books by Sosuke Natsukawa. This is a story of a boy, a girl, and a cat who go on quests to save books. And it is very magical. It is like a love letter to books and to reading. So if you like books, if you like reading, which I assume you do because you're watching this video, then this is like a very heartwarming read. It will like perfectly capture your love for books and your love for reading. So it's like going to be like a comfort read for me whenever I'm looking for something which is related to the love for books. Speaking about books and bookshops, we have Days at the Morisaki Bookshop by Satoshi Yagisawa. This is a quiet little, cozy little story set in a bookshop where our main character comes in to heal herself and just learn the importance of family connection and the power of books. And I don't need to explain more than this. It's a very cute little read which I think you should give a try. And up next is one of the best short stories novellas I have read. It's just 92 pages, but in those 92 pages, like, you will have one of the best reading experiences of your life. And that book is Miss Ice Sandwich by Mieko Kawakami. It's a very tender and very heartfelt book. You cannot name a tender and heartfelt book than this. You just cannot. Miss Ice Sandwich is a book about our young main character. He's a young boy on the verge of adolescence, so he's not really a kid, but he's also not a teenager. It's about his infatuation with a department store, like a convenience store worker whom he calls Miss Ice Sandwich because she packs the sandwiches over there. It's about his infatuation. She is not the best type of person, like she's kind of awkward, she's kind of weird, but for our main young boy, for her main young character, he is absolutely infatuated with her, and there's just something about her which draws him in. It is about the innocence that little boys, little kids have towards life. It's about a new beginning, it's about a new journey. It is about family, about growing up, and I absolutely loved it. I cried so much when I finished the book. There is this paragraph on page 90, literally 2 pages before the book ends, and it's just one of the best paragraphs that I've read. I don't want to read it out loud because it will spoil the experience for you, but I was reading, I was having a good time. I was reading, and I came to the end of the paragraph and I realized that my eyes are like running with tears because the tears just come out of nowhere because of how incredibly heart touching that paragraph was. You just have to read this. You just have to read this. Please, 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 please read this. Before I leave you guys, I want to give you guys a look at my physical TBR of Japanese translations. I want to read as many as I can of these this month. I don't think so I'll be able to finish all of them, but I'll give my best shot. First up we have is The Goodbye Cat by Hiro Arikawa. This released last year in about October, and I finally got a copy from Penguin, so I'm going to read it this month because I just want to experience the same or some sort of like similar magic as to the Traveling Cat Chronicles. Then we have is a book which is very popular right now, which is What You Are Looking For Is in the Library by Michiko Aoyama. Collection of short stories about books and libraries and the healing power of books. So yeah, definitely very high on my radar. Then we have is The Factory by Hiroko Oyomada. He's the author of Weasels in the Attic, which is a very popular short story. This is where I am like trying to diversify my Japanese reading. 3 people who go into a factory to work and they lose sense of time because the work is so repetitive and they lose themselves in that. And then it asks the question of what we are doing here. It's a take on capitalism and like the absurdity and the meaninglessness of the modern workplace. Then we have Murakami's After Dark. It's a very surreal, magical realism type of book. I don't really know the plot of it that well, but yeah, I'm very excited to read another Murakami book. Then we have is Never Let Me Go by Kazuo Ishiguro. Kazuo Ishiguro is the winner of Nobel Prize in Literature. So I have very high expectations from this book. It's supposed to be very sad, it's very heartbreaking, but one of the most memorable books of your life type of book. My expectations are very high from this. Then we have is How Do You Live by Genzaburo Yoshino. It's a cozy, comforting, life-affirming story about the meaning of life and like how to live a good life. It's a fictional book, but it just has a very high like self-help type of element to it. So yeah, maybe I'll read this also this month. Then we have is Miyako Kawakami's 2 books which I have not yet read, which is All the Lovers in the Night and Breast and Eggs. Jack Edwards, who is my favorite booktuber, has read this and loved it so much, like given it a 5 out of 5 stars. So my expectations are very high. And then Breast and Eggs is a very popular book which talks about women and the struggles that they face. And that sounds like a good story. I've heard great things about this as well, so very high expectations. Anyways, these are the recommendations I have for you guys. I hope you guys pick at least one of them and read as much Japanese literature as you can this month. It's one of my favorite genres and it's a really good genre to read, and I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I do. Let me know if you read any from it and tell me how you liked it. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up, comment down below anything you want, and subscribe for more videos very soon. Bye!